mean, Porsche came out with the Cayenne. Personally, I think it's a bad idea. But, I wouldn't like them to use the Cayenne. But again, to do that, think about the history of Porsche specifically. Fast cars, sports cars, and now you have this kind of model of the Cayenne. Well, you need some playfulness to get out of the normal order of thinking to do that. And that's another part of play, which is very, very important. I'll give you some examples in a moment about how many creative ideas come out of this form of play. Before we do that, how can you stimulate the first form of play? Helping people to do their work in a more flexible way, much more playful way. Just considering different sorts of variables, just exploring things that do not seem to be immediately useful in generating ideas, having a great deal of fun. How can you do that? Not in terms of the environment, but in terms of the work itself. Any ideas? Or perhaps how your companies? Yes.
License to experiment.
License to experiment, very good. That's one important one, right? So you give them the license, the autonomy, the freedom, or possibly the resources, sometimes a budget, right? To be able to do it themselves, if they like it, of course. Because I know sometimes, there are some people that don't like that.
Absolutely, it could be changed.
Could be changed. You mean you can change them, or?
No, it could be changed for them. So one of the reasons why, although you might give them license to experiment, people are also nervous about change. So there's a bit of a tension there.
Okay, good. And we'll come back to this question as well. Yes.
And the ability to fail.
The ability to fail. Tolerating errors, tolerating some failure in the process. That's a big way, one important way. Giving license to play for experimentation, tolerating some error. Any other ideas? Any other ideas to maintain playfulness as well?
Go for the opposite.
Go for the opposite, specifically?
If the goal is improve productivity, how can we destroy completely productivity?
So you take, as a thought process, the different anchor. Yeah. Take a very different anchor in you turn it on its head. Yeah, that's a great way to stimulate creative thinking, when you turn assumptions, you reverse them on its head. Now, how can you do that on a normal basis? So when you have someone working for you, you know this person is going to be evaluated at the end of the year on the basis of being productive. How can you have them
do that?
make difference? Sorry?
You can't ask a person to produce the work on their own. I mean, this kind of thing, you are going to do exactly the opposite of what I should be doing. So what should you do in order to be at the exact opposite of what you should be doing? No, you got to have a team, and they got to exchange ideas, and they got to go and push it the more they can. And then, when you debrief them, when you debrief with them, most of the time you will see the good idea popping up, because basically because it was the completely opposite of the idea, and putting it back in the right direction is more easy.
Good. Especially in engineering, or companies that involve some form of engineering, so many creative ideas come out of that. I'll show you a couple of examples. I think you can create a playful work environment, which I think is important. A second way is to provide freedom, autonomy, right? So people take their license to play, to be very imaginative, to explore, to experiment. The third way, which I think is very, very important, and perhaps might be the most direct way for you to do it in your group, in your company, is to do what societies have been doing with play historically. Now, if you look at how societies, any part of the world, have been dealing with the idea of play, they know that play can be dangerous, play can lead to errors, so forth and so on. So that they try to institutionalize it by giving the space and time it can exist there. The theater, think about the theater, right? Outside you cannot pretend to be Napoleon, they're going to take you to a madhouse. You cannot just behave in different ways. In the theater, in this space and time, you can do whatever you like to be. You can be Napoleon, you can be King Lear, you can be a liar, and actually you get rewarded for behaving in different ways, inconsistently, right? So, as an analogy, I think organizations, some companies like 3M have been doing that. They take a space and time, like 15% of the 20% rule that companies like Google use that now. When they say to their engineers, 20% of your time, you can just use it and do whatever you like. Just explore a new idea that may not have any kind of immediate applications. Maybe much more a process of exploration. And 3M has come out with so many of their innovations, came out with this 15-20% free time rule. Google, actually, I was reading yesterday an interview, I think it was a Business Week. The CEO of Google, he said that 90% of our new products really come out of this side projects, not from the projects that somehow fit into our strategic orientation. Because again, a strategic orientation may be too focused. You know, these side projects give us very different ideas for us, different angles to explore. And not all of them, of course, will lead up to good ideas. The other ideas. Did you see the two sides, the children and the adults? This model you started, but they really have to work together. But I think, as it comes to it, they do good job at integrating.
It seems like the adults model, it really has to be part of the creativity even for designers, like that. When you have a deadline to meet, if they had much more time, maybe they will act more like the Pixars. You know, they will play much more, and they will have less adults behavior. So I think the balance depends on the objective of the target finally.
It does, and I think it also depends very much on the stage where you are in the creative process. As you go toward the end, you need much more critical thinking, much more judgment to make the right. When you're at the beginning, it's much more useful if you use more the other model, you know, because you're operating in a more free mind, which is free of criticism and judgment. But at the end, you need to focus somewhere. Yes?
I think it's also important to recognise that you can't be in a permanently creative or innovative state. At some point, you have to have execution, you have to have delivery, and the question is getting the balance right.
Getting the balance right. And I'm thinking again in different types of environments. The balance doesn't have to be 50-50.
Yeah.
You have different proportions in the different stages. Here are some questions I have for you, just from this example. How can you invent a guitar string that doesn't break in a plant, in an industry that makes medical products? You know, when there's nothing in your job description, expertise, has anything to do with that. When originally you started to invent better cables for a bike, and when the organization has nothing to do with that market, how can you do that?
Because when you do it, you think about a lot of other things, and finally it comes out. Usually the big inventions are done that way.
Okay. As an organization, how can you do it? How can you have products like that? By?
Diversity.
By playing. By playing. That's why play is a great thing to have. You know, that's how you started earlier on. You know, with when you consider all these things that seem to be absolutely crazy, you know, out of context, but that's sometimes their value. And the value of it is not that every time you will do this, you will get a good product. More often than not, you will fail. You will not get any value. But these times that you will get something of value, chances are it's going to be as radical and as useful and as big as that one. I think many companies, like or like Video, somehow have figured out different ways to do it. Whether it is an engineering company, an industrial design company, Pixar, they make films, and hopefully some of you will do it more and more in your companies, and then sometime next year we will come with BBC. Okay, so welcome back. Hope you enjoyed the session, and hope you have a great week in cloud.
Well, thank you.